stage, then you are live now. So just
Oh, now I'm live.
okay. All right, I'm hanging up. You got it. You're on.
Okay, can you call the other people and let them know to? And so I hit her too, and she's on stage now.
Um,
Uh, I don't see her. You just have to bring her up.
Dr. Dickerson, can you hear me?
yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Okay, so
All
we
right,
are
great.
live now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You got it.
Good
You're live.
evening.
All right.
Good evening. Thank you so much. This is On the Case with your host, Chinta Strausberg, and I have Dr. Renee Dickerson on. She is a psychotherapist with 30 years of experience, and she is the founder and CEO of the Her Service Matters, and she's organizing the Million Women Veterans March. That's going to be held in Washington, D.C. on October 27, 2027. Not this year, 2027. Welcome to On the Case, Dr. Dickerson.
Thank you.
All right. So now
Hi.
that number that I gave you, did you let them know to call that number in so I can hear their voice? Because that's what I need you to do.
I actually gave them the stream yard as well. They were on the line and then they disconnected. Would you like for them to call in?
Yes, and I'm going to call in that number as well so that I can hear them. And because of the storm, we're having problems. So I do apologize
Okay.
for that. Just a moment here. Let me just find that so that um, we can all three be on
And
the
I
case.
will and I will make sure that they have the number.
Okay. All
You
right.
have
Okay.
reached the On Air Radio Network. Please state your name and you will be entered into our studio. Please keep your phone on mute until you are called on to speak. If you are the host, press star now. Otherwise, please enter your PIN followed by the pound or hash. If you do not know your PIN, please enter pound or hash.
Okay. So now, Dr. Dickerson, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Now, what happened to your face here? So, all right. All right.
Oh
So now,
no. Oh, and
can you can you bring your face back? There you are.
okay, there I am.
All
Yes.
right. So, can you tell us about this? First of all, you're a psychotherapist. Are you from Chicago?
I am from Chicago. I grew up in Inglewood and South Shore, and I currently live in Washington Heights. I retired from the VA in 2023 and started my private practice, a non for profit, and in partnership with Rochelle Crump, the president and founder of the National Women Veterans United, and Dr. Pam Wilson, who is the president of the International Military Women of Color. We decided it was time for us to organize and plan a Million Women Veteran March on Washington for 2027. And we've all heard about the different changes um, with our current administration, removing women history, removing African American history, people of color losing their positions in the military and civilian sector. And we thought it was time to become invisible. Women veterans are considered invisible. Veterans Day, men are always wished thank you or received the statement, thank you for your service. We have served too, and this is the time for us to bring to the forefront concerns we would like to add more attention to, and that is uh, the medical, mental health, suicide awareness, housing instability, especially as it relates to women as women continue to age. Oftentimes, it is forgotten that along with combat, women have also experienced various forms of military sexual trauma. And because of their service, combat, or a certain basis, exposed to certain chemicals. And we would like to see more research and services um, in those areas as it relates to women. And it's not just for women veterans. We are speaking up for those who are still serving. We are speaking up for families because our families are affected. We are including Silver Star families and Gold Star families. We are part of the community.
Okay. Now, and your
And I,
second guest is
mhm.
Pamela Wilson. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. Can you let's see now. There you are. So are you from Chicago too?
I am.
And what's your title?
My title is President of International Association of Military Women of Color.
And how long have you been in the service?
Are you talking about the military?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't hear that.
I served proudly for 32 years.
Wow, wow. Okay, and that was the Army?
Yes, ma'am. That was the Army as a religious affairs specialist the whole time.
I never heard of that title. So what do you do as a religious
You
specialist?
know, that title used to be called a chaplain assistant. And what that is the chaplains that serve in the military, they are non-combatants. So they are on the battlefield without a weapon. They're in the pulpit without a weapon. They are wherever they are without a weapon. So it's our job not only to make sure that they're protected, especially if we're in a situation of war, but also to make sure that we provide that administrative and that other operational stuff that they need in order for them to be
Mhm.
effective as chaplains in the military.
So are you actually on the battlefield praying with them or what?
No, I am on the battlefield ensuring that they are protected because they are non-combatant and I am a combatant. So my job in that situation, if and when we have been on the battlefield, absolutely, would be to protect them as my number one mission for that moment because
Okay.
they don't have a weapon. They don't have a weapon. So I have the weapon. So I'm like their security.
I'm just trying to visually understand that. So like in Vietnam, were you in Vietnam?
I was in Iraq.
I'm sorry?
I was in Iraq,
Oh, Iraq. Okay,
in Baghdad, Iraq.
so you were actually on the battlefield in Iraq.
I was.
And,
Yes,
and but you didn't have any weapons.
I did, but my chaplain did not.
I see. All right. Wow.
Yes, my chaplain did not. The way they're assigned, the way we're assigned in the military, I am the one that is the one with the weapon. The chaplain is the one without the weapon.
Oh, I did not know they had
So
that.
in order for them to do their job in the military, they rely on me during combat to watch their back while they're out there, performing rites and services or whatever they're doing.
Wow, I had no idea the army had that. So you were actually praying with them while.
Absolutely. Well, no, the praying piece, it comes in a different context because as an enlisted person, which I serve, my job is to make sure that I respect the rights of all religions, whoever they are. So it's to make sure that a Catholic soldier, for example, is able to get the right types of rights and benefits and services that a Catholic soldier needs versus a Jewish soldier who may only need to have a yarmulke or may only need to have a tablet. But a Catholic soldier may ask you for some beads or something to that nature. So you take care of individual needs
Oh, see, we had technical difficulty again. All right, so Dr. Dickinson, what were you actually on the battlefield, and if so, which wars?
I was not. I was not. I was in during Desert Storm, but I did not deploy. I turned and I served in the Air Force, and uh, I was a clerk in the Air Force and also the historian for my unit. But I
I
was
see.
fortunate I did not have to deploy.
Mhm. And so, why did you decide to organize this march? What were the problems that led up to your saying it's time to do this?
It's it's considered dishonorable for what we are experiencing as women veterans and service members, quite frankly. But we serve honorably. And the theme of the march is this honored valor, because we served with valor and honorably. We received honorable discharges, and to be discounted, that's a form of moral injury. And so we feel this is it's time to educate our country of our contributions and how we have returned home and became part of the community, and we continue to serve. We help other veterans, we help families, we help communities. We continue a life of service.
And and
So
I
it
I
is
under-
time.
and I understand that you have the same problems that the men do mentally and emotionally. Talk about that.
Post traumatic stress disorder. Yes. And to have experienced, uh, when we make a decision to join the military, there's an expectation, okay, we could get hurt or we could be killed, but we still decided to join the military to serve, maybe, go back to school, an opportunity to explore the world, but we made an active decision to serve our country. An epidemic that it's in the military is military sexual trauma. In 2020, we talked a lot about it, a little bit more in 2021, but it's been kind of quiet, especially since 2025. And we want to bring those concerns to the forefront because it's sexual harassment, it's sexual assault, it's also trafficking and domestic violence. There is
Wow,
an anonymous survey, excuse me.
that is that's pretty heavy just to take in. Sexual trauma in 2026. It's going on 2025. I thought that was in the past.
No, it isn't in the past. Between one to four service members experience some form of military sexual trauma, and that is female. Males, it's between 1 to 7, 1 to 10. It depends. Now, more men experience sexual trauma in the military than women because you have more men. But for the smaller percentage of women, there's a very high occurrence. And so, yes,
Are you
women
saying
come
that
back
men?
home with post-traumatic stress.
Sure, but
Mhm.
are you saying that men are also sexually attacked while
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
service?
Yes.
I mean, how do you deal with that?
Well, I would have to say the Department of Veteran Affairs is well equipped in working with male and females as it relates to their experiences in the military, combat, sexual trauma, even racism. However, there's been many cuts uh, that the VA is experiencing, shortage of staff, meaning longer wait times for appointments for our service members and our veterans. And so this march is to bring to the forefront challenges that have existed um, for a very long time.
Okay. All right. And Dr. Wilson, talk to me about uh, your uh, your reaction to all of the sex in the military. I just thought that was a thing of the past. I had hoped it was a thing of the past, but apparently it's not.
Well, actually, I don't think that it's any different anywhere else than, as compared to the military. I just think in the military, it's our responsibility to make sure we put a stop to it. And we must put a stop to it. So it makes it the number one priority, especially people that are serving in the military. And absolutely, as veterans, it's our number one priority to do whatever we can to make sure we can advocate for this to stop. Absolutely.
So
So
have
it's
you?
not alarming to me at all. It is persistent. It's just not any different. We just don't have solutions that are public. We have no solutions. And so that's why we're marching, so that we
So
can get to some type of resolution and get some outcomes to this problem.
so have you ever been sexually harassed?
Well, I would not come on a show like that and talk personally, but I'd be happy to talk statistically.
Okay. Since she disappeared on that. So, Dr. Dickerson, have you ever been sexually harassed? Can you talk about that?
Yes, morning, noon, night. It's part of the culture. And I served from 84 to 91. And we didn't have a terminology for that behavior until 1992, after the Desert Storm conflict. But from 92 to 93, um, I want to say in 93, we had some major, um, I want to say, steps to improve, to curtail sexual violence in the military and sexual harassment in the military because of uh, President Biden. uh, I think it's the bill that removed the power or authority from the commanders who had made the decision if they're going to investigate, prosecute, or convict. And just recently, there's been some talk about some changes in that, and so that is concerning because commanders are not attorneys and they're not judges, and for them to have had the decision about investigating sexual harassment or sexual assault in the military, uh, that was a major problem all these years. So in 2023, when that new bill was put in place, there was hope. However, they're making some changes, or we're interested in seeing what those are, because the lived experience of being constantly sexually um, uh, harassed or even sexually assaulted, it continues to affect the individual for a lifetime. And not just the individual, but also their family. And yes, there is life after trauma, and I believe the VA has excellent programs to help people better understand how they've been affected by trauma. But when there's budget cuts and providers are laid off or programs have been discontinued, that's problematic. We have more veterans now. And you have more veteran women today, and more women are joining the military, and they have a right to.
Now, under this president, he has, and he and Pete Hegseth have demoted a lot of African American seasoned military
Yes.
officers. How do you feel about that? And he doesn't like to stand
It
next to a black woman in the military. I can't believe he would say that, but it's offensive to him.
and for those reasons, It is time for us to march, not just as African American veterans, but Caucasian, Hispanic, Asian. We have all raised our hand to serve and protect this country up to and including life. Women have died in combat. Women have died as a result of military sexual trauma. Women have died in service to this country. Our service matters.
Sure, it matters. But then, so how many people are you expecting to come, and what is going to be your message to Trump when you get there?
It's not just the Trump, because we could have the next president might not see women who have served in the military significant as well. Our message is for everyone. Our service matters. And when we come back to our community, we continue to serve.
Okay. All right. And so
Mhm.
it's not just for African American female soldiers, is it? Have you reached out to
That
other
is
ethnic
correct.
groups? Okay, talk to
Yes,
me
we
about
have
that.
uh, across the nation. We have uh, connected with various organizations. Of course, since I'm on my phone, I can't pull up my list, and we're still uh, in contact. We're in the first phase of our planning this march, but we are also connecting with veteran service organizations, churches, schools. We actually want the VA to partner with us and be there on the ground with us to provide information and advocacy for uh, our veterans on the day of the march.
All right. Now, Rochelle Crump, whom I know for many, many years,
Mhm.
is supposed to be on. I don't know what happened to her, but what is her role in this?
Well, I do want to apologize for that. We've experienced power outages, and so we're using our phones, and so she's having difficulty connecting. And because of her legacy for 21 years, she has been boots on the ground in Chicago and in Illinois, and even helped people across the nation. We've asked her to be the lead for this march.
Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
That makes sense because she's helped my family many, many
Oh,
times because and I wanted to ask you that about too. My cousin Milton Lealo the third,
yes.
18-year-old kid from Inglewood, on October 22nd, 1965, he spotted a live grenade, grabbed it, put it on his stomach, allowing it to explode, saving the lives of four men. And the only one who
Yeah.
survived right now, well, the only survivor is retired Captain Jimmy B. Stanford, who's in
Oh.
Texas. We talk a lot, but
Mhm.
the president and Hegseth have ordered the removal of Skipper's. That's what we call my cousin. His name from the military, not just him, but other black military heroes, because he feels it's diversity, equity, and inclusion, which had nothing at all to do with Skipper's decision to pay the ultimate price. So, how do you feel about that? And what kind of message would you send to this president? Because you got to deal with this president.
Well, I've had the opportunity to work with a veteran that knew him personally. They attended high school, and so that's how I first learned about Milton Oliver's history and his ultimate sacrifice to this country. And it didn't matter who was standing around. He saved the lives of men in uniform that did not look like him. So we might not look like who's in office, but we continue to serve this country.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hmm.
So it's just I just don't like what the president is doing with the military when it comes to people of color. and women. It seems like they're
And
anti-women, and or am I wrong?
that is, they might not have said it, but that has been the action.
Yeah,
When you talk about removing military history, when you have removed women from leadership roles because they're women, because they're African American, that's an insult to this country.
absolutely,
Our,
it's an
yeah,
insult.
yes.
And
Hmm.
it has not, but the excuse that he uses is that it's DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which doesn't make sense to me. I don't know.
I don't think we disagree on that point. It's and but what he's doing, what is being done to us is damaging, and we're still going to turn around and continue to serve. We're
And
going to pull up the next.
it's damaging in which way? It's not just damaging to African Americans. I would think it's damaging to America.
Absolutely. When we turn home, we're educators, we're principals, we're police officers, therapists, CEOs, we're mothers, fathers. The the blood that has been spilled for this country is everlasting, but all wounds are not able to be seen. People have been affected by their military service. And so these actions communicate that our service doesn't matter, but it does. We matter.
It does matter. Absolutely, it does matter. And so, why did you decide to go into the military? For 32
That
years, is it?
no, that was Dr. Pam Wilson. She served in the Army for 32 years
32
with the
years.
chaplain corps too, and she protected the chaplain for her unit.
And
I I made a decision to join the military because I wanted to jumpstart my life. I had a reasonable expectation that if I joined the military, I would become better than I could have potentially been if I did not. And I've had some extraordinary experiences, and I've accomplished so much, and I'm glad I made the decision to serve.
you served for how many years?
7.5 years.
7.5. And
Hmm.
and when you left, you were honorably discharged, right?
I was honorably discharged. I actually received my master's in the military. I was able to go to school while I was in the military, and and eventually worked for DOD at Great Lakes Recruiting Station. I worked for the Department of Veteran Affairs, even the Guamanian government. And so I, because of my military experience, I was able um, to face various challenges in various different workplaces. Um, Racism is not supposed to exist in the military because we are serving the country and we made up all sorts of people. And I believe in that.
But it does exist today, especially under this
It
president.
does. It does.
And is that one
And
of
it's
your?
disheartening.
Yeah, it is disheartening because it's taking our country backwards, and that's what's so troubling to me. Um, because I am still
Yes.
learning about Black history, and the more I read,
Yes.
I just want to apologize to every American for what. And then the president doesn't want you to talk about that because it hurts the feelings of people who don't look like us. And I can't believe he would even say that. How do you feel about that?
Uh, I was just recently given the assignment by Dr. Charles Smith. He is uh, a world-renowned folklore African American heritage artist, and he's good friends with Mr. James Meredith in Jackson, Mississippi. And you cannot mention James Meredith, the civil rights activist. He's an icon. He was shot in the back in '66, and Dr. King said, I'm going to finish the march for you. And even after that, and that day, he continued to help Americans. Air Force veteran. Today, you cannot say his name in the schools, or the
Why
schools
not?
will lose funding in Jackson, Mississippi. You
Is that
cannot say Medgar Evers' name. Excuse me?
because of something that Trump has ordered?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
That law was passed last June, June 2025.
so how do you feel about that?
It hurts my heart.
Yeah.
And and even Medgar Evers, we can't say his name, but we have a living legacy still alive, and he should be honored.
Who is that?
That is James Meredith. He was the first person, or African American, to attend classes at Old Miss.
So it's okay to say his name.
You
So
cannot say his name in the
you
schools,
cannot say.
not in Mississippi, no, not in the state of Mississippi.
So, so was that an order, direct order from President Trump or Hegseth or a state representative or congressman? Who did this?
That was through the state of Mississippi.
Okay,
Yes.
and the reason is what? What was the reason?
The the D the DEI.
The
They felt yes,
so
and
oh you
it's excuse me.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say that um it's it is and it's not just James Meredith, but it's also Medgar Evers, and his family still lives. His history also. He's a veteran. Um, and to say that you cannot say their names, that is that's just a service to the nation. They're part of American history.
Right. I mean, you
So
can't
that includes
erase.
Dr. King.
You can't erase our history. I mean, why does? I mean, it's stupid. I'm sorry. It's crazy. It's stupid. You cannot erase our history because African American history is American history.
Yes, yes,
Hi, this is
100%.
Naima.
Oh,
I have a
Naima.
question.
Yes, then yes, Naima.
Yes, yes, I have a question. Is there any legislation? And welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. I have a question. Is there any
Thank you.
legislation that could reverse that? Has any elected official been approached to possibly introduce something that would change that? Can you tell us about that?
In Mississippi, that I am not aware of. My role is has been to make sure they're living their lives are comfortable, and there's a museum that we're trying to move his artifacts to, and so that's how I learned that you cannot mention his name. And I've had several conversations with Mrs. Meredith, and it's just astonishing that we have walked back in time.
Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely, and the notion that to banning our black books, that because it's
Mhm.
offensive to white children, that is the most ridiculous argument I have ever heard in my life. What about the pain and suffering of our ancestors, and we still have ancestors still living. I mean, our relatives from that period. I just I'm just having a hard time understanding that. Can you explain? Why should we? Why
Generational
should we feel?
trauma,
Okay, go ahead.
generational and generational trauma is a real thing. And because something happened over 100 some odd years ago does not mean that a family lifelines have not been affected. Many of us have not recovered, but we still serve in the military. We still vote. We still work to improve communities.
Right.
And that's why this march is necessary. It's an opportunity. I see it as a healing moment to unite, to educate, and advocate for those who are still serving, for veterans, for families, for our communities, because we are part of the community. This is a
Absolutely.
national movement.
Absolutely. And the pain and suffering that our ancestors went through in the periods of Jim Crow laws and all of that, we still are suffering from that right now. So to tell us to forget
Yes.
about it, erase it, that's not going to work. I mean, we have black on
So,
black crime. I think that started
mhm,
from lynchings and everything that's been done to our
yes,
people. Or am I wrong? I'm just trying to understand.
those, all of that has been scientifically proven. And I would never say to a Holocaust survivor that their pain and suffering does not matter. It still matters. Continues to affect families.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that goes on generation, all the
Yes.
way down the line until today, even. And do you connect what happened to us in the past of being slaves? And I know we're celebrating our 250th birthday, which because of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, but we
Mhm.
were not a part of that declaration. And then what about the years, what is it, over 100 years before that? Well, slavery lasted 407 years. So we are
Mhm.
just supposed to forget about that? I don't think so.
We need to remember that history. We need to learn more about that. That's
Right.
how we become stronger. That's how we become better. That's how we succeed. Just there are so many stories in the Bible of pain and suffering. Do we not talk about that? Do we
Right.
not talk about what happened in the Roman Empire? All of that is history.
So I know it's time for the march, but is it time for a national symposium about this, where we can have,
Yes,
okay, talk to me about that.
let's get started. Even if it means boycotting. Race is a major issue. You cannot ignore it. It's a major issue right now, and it will only get worse. And
Well,
so let's start having meetings. Let's make this happen, this symposium.
I agree with you. And there's been a study that I read just a couple of weeks ago where white racism is on the rise now. White supremacy.
Yes.
They are recruiting like crazy, and it's like a silent movement. Where's our movement to counter that? And you talk about healing. How can we heal racism, which to me is a disease? Or am I wrong? I'm just we didn't gr-
I
I did not grow up. I grew up in a home where African American history was never spoken. We knew nothing about that. We knew nothing about slavery in schools or in home. So I went to the continuing education course at University of Chicago, and when I took Black History course, it was like a cultural shock, and it shouldn't be
mhm.
that way. It should not be that way.
And I agree. I um, I feel very fortunate. At age 8, I was able to participate in Fred Hampton's summer program at the YMCA in Inglewood
Wow.
on Halsted. I learned Swahili. I learned that I was young, gifted, and black. I learned uh, to recite the parts of the Constitution and song. I remember more about that experience than anything else at age 8, and it has continued to influence me.
Mm.
And we need to continue to educate ourselves, and our history needs to be taught in schools.
It absolutely. I fought to get Black history in our schools, and Dr. Barbara Bird Bennett, she went to prison, but she did meet with me and a friend of mine, and we gave, our recommendations. And when it was through, she did sit down with us and let us go through it because some of it was inaccurate. Um,
Hmm.
and they didn't have anything in there about my cousin Skipper, so that was put in. But then after she did that, the schools gave the principals the authority not to use it because they said the teachers were not trained in Black history. So
Mm.
but we have Holocaust history, our Jewish brothers.
And it's history, and
What
we should learn about that. We should learn
about
about Black history. We
and
should learn
Spanish
about
history?
Native American
Yes.
history. Yes.
Because it's like I used to be the media specialist for Reverend Jesse Jackson for 6.5
Hmm.
years, and he often talk about how America is like a quilt, and each
Hmm.
each piece represents a different ethnic group, and this president doesn't realize that. It's like my pastor, Father Michael Flager, said that he wants to make MAGA stands for making America white again. That's what he wants. It was never white again, and it was never great again. I mean, he can't fool me.
You can't even have, you cannot have white history without Black history.
Thank
We
you.
breastfed their children. We are related. I've checked
Yes,
my DNA. I have certain percentages.
right.
It's
We all are because of the
it's
men.
delusional. It's delusional.
Absolutely
Now, Miss
delusional.
Chinta, I need to apologize because I my battery is about to go out, and I don't want this call to drop. And and this is
Can we talk
I,
until it dropped? Because we still have 7 minutes. So
fine. Okay, well,
and
let's do it because this is so
so
interesting.
you have some demands. What are the demands for the march?
We are referring to them as policy priorities, and they are a priority. Improve medical as it relates to researching the effects of chemicals, how they affect women as they continue to age. Agent Orange, we know a lot about Agent Orange, how it affects prostate. But what
Oh,
about women, the chemicals that they have been exposed to, according to the PACT Act, and not just in the combat zone, but also in military bases across the country and some countries. Uh, Military sexual trauma. We want to remove the shame that survivors experience. We want that to switch to the other side and let the perpetrator, the military, needs to hold on to that shame. Because if anything can stop in the military, or let me put it this way: if if sexual trauma, even racism, can be stopped in any institution, it can be stopped in the military. There's a rule, a regulation, a policy for everything. And
absolutely.
so it should not exist. It interferes with getting the job done. And when it's heavy combat, No one knows color.
And you have to
People are
trust
trying to
each other.
survive.
You have to trust each
Yes.
other too on the battlefield. And
Yes.
has nothing to do with that. Okay, so it's just amazing. So is it time for a congressional hearing so that you can?
Yes.
All right, so talk to me about that. What do you, you know? I work with Congressman Danny K. Davis and Congressman Jonathan Jackson. They're very active with the military. What kind of message do you have for them? A request.
We need to bring to the forefront and have more conversations about suicidality of women who have served. We tend to talk about men, but there's a very high occurrence of suicide of women, but of women who have served, even though it's a lower percentage who have served, it's still high. And oftentimes it's tied to military sexual trauma, not necessarily combat. Same for the men. We would like to bring attention to the 24/7 gambling app, which those are serving in the military have gotten into trouble because they don't have to go to a casino to gamble. They can just gamble on their phone, tablets, or computers and lose everything. And we need more education and on the effects. Why are you gambling? This is 24/7. Why aren't you sleeping? I mean, that's simplistic, but people end up ruining their military careers. Their marriages have ended. They've lost their homes because of the gambling act. And I think there should be more responsibility of these companies and in providing services, not after the person becomes addicted. They need to be educated before housing equity as relates to more housing programs for men, for women. There's many programs for men, but what if and you have co-ed programs where women can move into a facility, but if they have a family, what if they experience military sexual trauma? They might not want to live in the same facility as men. Uh, Race is one of our policy priorities. It needs to be discontinued. It's disrespectful and it's harmful.
All right. And so,
Hmm.
how can people get in touch with you, and how can they join up on this? And of course, it's not all black. So, tell me how to tell me the procedure for joining your movement. And it sounds like it is a movement.
Yes, and we are in the process of making our presence known. People have reached out to me on LinkedIn, Dr. Renee Dickerson, also the National Women Veterans United, and the International Association of Military Women of Color. But we are in the process of expanding our social media reach. We have committees and we have talented people who are helping us get this done. So you will hear more, and I hope to be able to tell you more, share more about our progress in the near future.
So, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, my email address
Okay.
is victory place, one word, dot mind, mind, at gmail.com.
And is there a cost to join?
Not at this time.
Do you take donations?
We do take donations.
How
We're
how?
setting up, well, we're setting up a website to do that. We're
Okay.
just making sure everything is done and orderly.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. And Dr. Wilson, you're back, Dr. Pamela A. Wilson. So, how does people get in touch with you? No, no, I can't hear you. All right. So, all right. Okay, so we're almost out of time anyway. So I'm so glad that Dr. Wilson, Pamela A. Wilson, was on, and I will call Dr. Rochelle Trump because I've known her for so many years, and get her comments too, and do a great story about the women. Dr. Wilson, can you hear me? No, she can't hear me, so sorry about that. All right. So thank you so much, Dr. Renee Dickerson, psychologist for 30 years. Thank you so much.
Psychotherapist.
Oh,
Thank you.
psychotherapist. What's the
Great
difference?
show.
Thank you, Naima. So what's the difference between a psychotherapist and a psychiatrist?
Well, psychiatrist prescribes medication.
Okay.
The psychologist, the clinical psychologist, uh, that is the level of education and training. And they're also certified by American Counseling Association. And but I haven't reached that. I'm a psychotherapist with a
Okay.
PhD from
Well, I
the
know a lot of
Institute for Clinical
politicians.
Social Work.
I know a lot of politicians who need your services, I'll tell you. One is at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. All right. So, okay. So we're going to, it's time to end the show. And I'm grateful for your being on and to bring this
And
issue
you can
up
hit
front.
the closing. You remember where that's at, right?
Closing. Hold on a second.
Yeah, the purple one, but lavender one.
Got it.
The third. All right, hit that. And
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.
Naima?
all right, now hit end stream. Yeah, now hit end stream.
I did.
That button. All right, it should say that's all and all that sort of thing. Did it say that?